1, live.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Cub Camp Leadership Meeting for 2021. We're all glad that you were able to join us. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the leadership team that will be working with us over the next, or during this next summer. My name is Bill Sinclair. I'm the Assistant Camp Director at Camp Belzer. Then we have Matthew Long, who is the Camp Director at Camp Belzer. And then we have Thomas Swift, who is the Program Director at Camp Belzer, the Camp Director at Camp Wittgenstein and Camp K, and Kobe Wheeler, who is the Program Director. And I will turn it over to him and we'll go forward from there.
Good evening, Bill. Thank you. The first step we wanted to just discuss through and walk through is really, the actual structure for all of our Crossroads American Council camps, the specific, progression plan, if you would, that we've been utilizing. So this chart that we've got pulled up right here is a great example, and hopefully will provide some clarification on how we break things down. But the day camp, we have two kind of main sections, which is day camps and overnight camps. At our day camps, we have really two options, which is our regional day camps. Regional day camps are being held all over central Indiana. We have 5 separate locations. We've got those dates and locations later in the presentation. But that's welcome to all Cub Scouts and all youth between the grades of 1st all the way up to 4th grade. So those are exciting programs. I'd say they're very traditional in their day camp style. So we're talking about wood crafts, BBs, archery, scout craft and scouting skills. So those are great opportunity. Like I said, we will discuss the locations and dates here in a moment. Then second day camp option is day camp at Camp Belzer. Camp Belzer really has 2 tracks, if you would. The first of which is the Tiger and Wolves program. Which if you're familiar with what Camp Belzer has done in the past, it's very similar to the Tiger and Wolf Camp, where we have aquatics, we've got wood crafts, we've got crafts, we've got, BB guns, archery, obstacle courses, chair slide, and, all kinds of other activities. And that is in the Tiger and Wolf Camp. Obviously, that is open to Cub Scouts that are Tigers and Wolves, which is our 1st and 2nd graders. The second track at Camp Belzer is what we are just calling day camp, which includes all youth from 3rd all the way up to 8th grade, rising 3rd through 8th graders. This program is something that we've not done before, but we're really excited. This is where each week of program will be in a very specific theme. We'll talk a little bit about that more, but ultimately, if a youth is interested in wilderness survival, then they should go to the Wilderness Survival Week. If they're interested in arts and crafts, then they should go to the Arts and Crafts. If they're interested in conservation, they should go to the Conservation, which is Fur, Feathers, and Ferns Week. Those are all fantastic opportunities for youth to really dive into a specific theme and topic that interests them most. And an added benefit is that each week is different. So you could attend multiple weeks if you desire. Now, moving into our overnight camps. We have 2 options for our Cub Scouts, which is Family Camp and Arrow of Light Camp. I know this is going to be initially confusing because it is a change to how we've done things before, but I promise there will be some more clarification when we get down to the actual dates. But Cub Scout overnight camps are occurring both at Kick-the-Weenin and Cretenstein. So Family Camp for Bears and Webelos Scouts, that's our 3rd and 4th graders, will be occurring at both Kick-the-Weenin in June, Kick-the-Weenin in June, and Cretenstein in July. And then Arrow of Light Camp, which is for our Arrow Light Scouts, which are rising 5th graders. Those will be occurring at both Kick-the-Weenin in June and Cretenstein in July. Promise it'll make some more sense once we get down to the specific dates, but those opportunities are both being held at both locations. Of course, this video is specifically directed towards Cub Scout parents and leaders, but it's still worth mentioning that Randsburg Scout Reservation will be hosting our Scouts BSA Scouts, and they will be a long-term camp. There will be lots of options for that as well, but that is mostly for our older youth. That's all the way up into 5th and above for that camp. Moving on, though, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Thomas Swift to discuss a little bit about our specific programs at Camp Belzer.
Thank you, Matthew. Just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, be sure to post them in the chat and we will try to answer them as we see them throughout the presentation. I'm just going to give a few program highlights for what we have planned for this summer at Camp Belzer. Of course, at our Tiger and Wolves camp, we've got our classic high demand activities like shooting sports, that's BBs and archery and pool time. We also have our 4 thrilling adventure courses, the classic activity at Camp Belzer, the monkey bridge, the rope tunnels, the chair slide. They're all still there, ready to be used for some fun activities. And then it kind of a new addition to our programming is we've now included separate activities for different age groups. In the past, Camp Belzer has kind of been a one-size-fits-all programming for our participants. But this year specifically, in our under shelter activities, we have split up the groups by age. So that way the experience from year to year is actually different. And we're super excited about that. On the other half of the Belzer coin in our adventure weeks, we've got a lot of high profile activities to cap off the different themes. You know, in Wilderness Survival Week, they're going to be building a wilderness survival shelter. In Conservation Week, they're going to be making a handmade field journal that they'll fill out throughout the week through various activities. And then some of our exciting trips to Camp Kick the Weed will happen during our Aquatics Week and Shooting Sports Weeks. Which will be, extremely exciting. Anyway, so that just wraps up a few of our highlights for Camp Belzer, and we hope to see you there. Here on the slide, you can see a couple of our times and dates for the Camp Belzer sessions, and along with our regional day camp sessions. So we're going to have 6 weeks of programming out at Camp Belzer for both the theme week camps and the Tiger and Wolf camp. And you can see the dates on the slide here. Also, our regional day camps will be having a bunch of different weeks of operation. You can see that in the Connorsville, Richmond area, the presentation will be the camp will happen from June 7th to 11th, alongside the Jamestown, Brownsburg, Plainfield area at Washington Township Community Park. And then the next week, on June 14th, we'll be having a regional day camp at Camp Wildwood for the Terre Haute area. And happening simultaneously will be for the Franklin and Greenwood area. And then the next week, June 21st to 25th, will be the Muncie and Anderson Regional Day Camp happening at Prairie Creek Reservoir. And next, I believe I'm going to hand it off to the program director for Camp Kick the Weenin in Cretenstein, Kobe Wheeler.
Thank you so much, Thomas. My name is Kobe Wheeler. I'm the program director for both Camp Cretenstein and Kithaweeny. At both of our camps this summer, I know it can be a little bit confusing. What we are doing this year is we will be splitting the week into 2 different sessions, one themed around, one centered around both bears and webelos and the families thereof. So if you have a bear or a webelo who would like to come to attend camp with their pack or their family, this would be the camp centered around them. A few of the highlights for this camp is we will be having open programming. What that means is that during the day, there'll be a few different, mainly centered around both the webelo requirements and the bear requirements, but there will be activities planned throughout the entire day, and you as a family or as a pack feel free to plan out your own day. Our staff will be at their areas prepping each activity. The parents are gladly able to join, have fun. That is sort of the experience we're wanting to go for family camp. A few of the things, a few of the big highlights is we are centering around a lot of the basic scout skills, as well as one of the huge attractions for family camp this year will be our rocket launch, which will be scheduled for 7 o'clock during our program, which you all will be able to build and see launched up into the sky. For our Arrow of Light camp, which is the other part of our week, we will be doing more themed around the transition from AOLs into Boy Scouting. So we will be focusing mainly on the patrol method and applying that to typical things you do during camp. So two of the huge programs that we'll be offering this summer is sort of a optional thing. You can either, while you come, attend the stargazing evening program, which will is for all those interested in learning about our constellation, our stars, the planets in our solar system. We will have things like telescopes and have you all look out, as well as staff who are geared towards teaching those things. Saying for the other set of scouts who are more interested in sort of testing those scout skills that they have been working on throughout their entire career as a Cub Scout, our outpost will be doing things like fire building, shelter building, and really getting down to the nitty gritty of the patrol method. Other than that, that's pretty much everything I have. So I will pass it on to Sophie Swift, our camp director, both Kithaweenen and Cretenstein.
Awesome. Thank you, Kobe. So I'm really excited to see you all out at camp this year. 2021 is going to be great, and it's already gearing up to be a great camp season. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the division of family camp and Arrow of Light camp, and also the Kithaweenen versus Cretenstein camp sessions and how that's going to work, because I know that's a new thing this year, so it might be a little confusing. So as you can see on the dates here, we're going to be operating our Arrow of Light camp Monday through Thursday. And then Friday through Sunday is our family camp. So think of camp this year at Kithaweenen and Cretenstein in the mindset of sessions versus weeks, because our weeks will be divided into 2 different sessions, 2 different camps. So you can see that our first session for Arrow of Light camp is kicking off June 7th to the 10th. So that Monday to that Thursday. And then family camp June 11th to 13th over the weekend, Friday through Saturday. Like Matthew briefly mentioned at the beginning of this, we're going to be operating the Kithaweenen camp property in June, and then we're going to transition over to Cretenstein for a couple weeks of operating our camp at Cretenstein. So that'll be myself, and Kobe will be working at both camps, just not at the same time. So be sure to sign up to the camp closest to you. And we made this decision partially because of that. It was a little unrealistic to ask people to drive all the way to Terre Haute if they're, from Shelbyville or vice versa. So we hope that this will be a great accommodation for all of you and that these weeks make sense. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to drop them in the chat. And we are really looking forward to seeing you all at our family and Arrow of Light camps this year. So now I'm gonna just pass it off to the next person.
So we have posted up here one question that it keeps coming up for us, but I just wanted to go through kind of the fee structure for this summer. As you can see up there, we've outlined each of our camps. One quick note that I'm going to make before we dive into these numbers is that those prices that you're looking at are the early bird rates. So if you register, if you do not register prior to April 15th, you need to add $25 to that price that you see there. So just quick reminder that those prices listed on this slide right now are the early bird fee. So add $25 if you're registering after April 15th. So regional day camps at 120, Belzer Day Camp 160 to 225. The reason there's a range there, the main Tiger and Wolf program is $160. But the reason that there's kind of a spread there is because two of our theme weeks, or two of our Belzer Day Camp weeks, which are the aquatics and shooting sports weeks, those will actually be, we will be busing to Camp Kick the Weenin. So they'll still be doing drop off and pick up at Camp Belzer, but we'll be actually busing them to Camp Kick the Weenin during those 2 weeks to allow them to do more exciting shooting sports activities and also to give them their own space. We use the pool for our tiger and wolf program, so we wouldn't be able to use the pool for tiger, wolf, and for those scouts participating in that program. So we do bus them up there, which incurs a little bit of an extra cost, but also those activities that we're looking at also require additional supplies that maybe the other theme, the other Belzer Day Camp weeks will not require. So the fees there for Kick the Weenin and Cretenstein, family camp, $120 per youth. That does include any youth that aren't necessarily a bear or Webelos scout. That would be if they're participating as a youth, whether they're a bear or Webelos scout, it would be a cost of $120. Adult is $50. AOL camp is $200 and $100 for adults. We do include the Ransburg price there, but should not apply to anyone in this call. But just in case you're curious, the in-council youth rate is $320. For adults, it's $150. Again, I'll just make sure we state this for the record, that those prices listed there are the early bird fees. So if you do not register prior to April 15th, you need to add $25 to those prices so that you know what the regular fee is. This does bring us to our frequently asked questions section. Just really looking for your questions. So feel free to post those into the chat if you have any. We've went ahead and posted onto the slide here a few questions that are coming up commonly to us. So we're going to run through some of these. I may pass them off to Sophie or Kobe or anyone else on the call, but wanted to just go through these first ones. And the first question that we've been consistently getting from everyone that's going to any of our summer camps, not just our Cub Scouts, but Scouts BSA, not just day camp, but also family camp and OL. This is by far the most commonly asked question is, will camps still happen despite COVID-19 continuing to affect our communities? And honestly, we are convinced more and more as we get closer and closer to the summer that we will be able to host summer camp. We are planning and moving forward. We as a leadership team, we as the Crossroads American Council are moving forward with planning for our summer seasons. Registrations have opened. People are signing up as we speak for these opportunities. So we fully recognize that COVID-19 will continue to be a factor this summer. And in many families, it may make a decision related to summer camp. It may affect their decision when it comes to summer camp. But we feel that if we are legally able to host camp, we are going to host camp. We have learned a lot from other camps that have ran in 2020 and during this pandemic of what is the best ways to do it, what's the safe ways to do it. And we are very confident that we can do this safely. So we want to pass on that confidence to you, confidence to your packs and your dens and to your youth that we can host summer camp. We are moving forward and planning, but we do recognize that it will be a factor affecting our summer camps, and we'll continue to release information as it's available. I don't necessarily know right now what every single mitigation step we will be taking during the summer, but we are aware of COVID. We are planning and moving forward. And as things continue to change, which they will over the next few months, we will be able to continue to adapt our program and how we are running our camps to do them safely. So we feel it is safe to register. Our refund policy is also very forgiving for anyone that is affected by COVID. And we believe that we will be able to host summer camp this year. If you have any specific questions, feel free to post those into the chat. We definitely want to be able to answer all your questions that you have regarding COVID specifically, but just know things continue to change. Things will continue to change and have been changing. And we're not just ready to release all the mitigation steps that we're going to be taking, but we will once we have those in hand. I am going to pass the next question over to either Sophie or Kobe, but the question is, can a pack or den attend family camp or day camp? And I will say, I'll answer for day camp right off the bat. Whereas we are certainly, and this kind of jumps to another question, we're not necessarily requiring adult leaders to participate in program at Camp Belzer. We're still inviting them to participate, but they're not required to attend with their child or with their scout. But but packs and dens can still register and attend Belzer Day Camp together if they so wish. We have just provided another opportunity where individuals can register. So this is not to put up additional boundaries or prevent other people from attending summer camp. It's to open this opportunity to other people. So if your pack is well organized and ready to jump on this and can handle registrations as a pack and make one registration for a pack, go for it. That's great. We'll definitely take the registration. But if your pack is struggling, you have not been able to meet as a pack or a den, and individuals are interested in signing up, we will still take an individual as well. And then when we're making those groups, the registration system actually automatically puts people together that are in the same pack or den. So if you put the information in correctly for your registrant saying that they're part of pack 1, 2, 3, we will get that information and the system automatically puts them together in our attendance sheets. But now for our family camp, Sophie or Kobe, can they attend as a pack or a den to family camp?
They most certainly can. In fact, it's encouraged that we have, that if you have your family or your pack who is most interested in coming to family camp, we ask that you make sure that they sign up, they get it all prepared. We'd love to have them over at both Kithleweenan and Cretenstein this summer.
Great, thank you, Kobe. The next question is specific to family camp and AOL camp, but is Part C of the health form, that's Part C of the health form, required for family camp and AOL camp?
Thanks, Matthew. For Part C of the health form, and if it's required, Part C of the health form is required for all resident camps, and we are a resident camp as you will be staying at camp. So the short answer to that is yes, it is required.
Great, thank you, Sophie. So the next question, I said I kind of jumped ahead of this, but are parents/leaders required to attend with their scout at Camp Belzer? The answer is no. We are not requiring parents and leaders to attend with their scout or with their youth. They are more than welcome to attend, and we actually encourage it. But we recognize that some families are not able to make that commitment to have a parent away from work or away from home. So we have provided that as an opportunity for our families and scouts to attend Belzer without a parent or pack leader or den leader. Certainly still welcome to attend. If you're able, we certainly encourage it, but we recognize that just some aren't able to do that. So that is just another opportunity for our youth to participate in their camp, in camp without their parents. These last two questions came from you, the viewers. These were submitted to us prior to this video session starting. But the first kind of question is definitely going to be a little bit difficult to answer simply because each camp does things a little bit differently. But the question is, how do the different camps handle food allergies? So I'll speak for Camp Belzer right off the bat. Camp Belzer's food is actually provided by a third party. It is provided by the Lawrence Metropolitan School District. As actually Camp Belzer is one of the FDA summer food program sites. So we're open to the community as a place to pick up lunch. So we utilize that program to help feed our scouts. Since that program is not managed at all by Camp Belzer or the Crossroads American Council, we are unable to fulfill food allergies. So any food allergies, they would have to bring their own lunch. I will say that most of the food items that they're selecting are pretty allergy friendly. We do get the menu prior to the summer starting, so we could share that with anyone that's interested. But just know that Camp Belzer, that meal is provided free to participants. So if you need to bring lunch, it's more than welcome. We actually have quite a few scouts that will bring a lunch and still get the free lunch provided to them if they so wish to get some extra food. But that meal is provided by a third party, completely free of charge to our youth. So we really don't have a whole lot of control on what's on the menu. But we can share that menu with you if you have specific questions, if your child or scout is able to eat those meals. I am going to go ahead and pass it off to either Sophie or Kobe to talk a little bit about how they would handle it at family camp or Arrow of Light camp.
Awesome, thank you. So at the family camp and Arrow of Light camp, our food is provided through Candle Dining. Candle works with a lot of other scout camps as well. They actually worked on some of the scout camps and other councils who did operate last year. So they're familiar with how to serve food in the time of COVID-19. We do consider food allergies A lot of the food is already designed to accommodate for many food allergies, but we will get a list, and that's something that's going to get kind of asked of our participants a little bit down the road, but prior to camp starting, we will ask you about your food allergies. That list will then go to Candle Dining, and the person in charge of the menu there will be reaching out to each of those kids. If it's an allergy that they're not familiar with, they'll be reaching out, but they do handle pretty much everything. So normally they'll just work to come up with an alternate menu and then let that participant know ahead of time, hey, this is what you're going to be eating. And if you have any specific questions, you can definitely reach out. But for most of the common food allergies, those things get handled with our relationship with Candle, and should not be any issue as you're staying at our camps this summer.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophie. The last question I'm going to go ahead and handle for all of our camps, but how do the different camps handle scouts with special needs? This is a fantastic question. Scouting it really prides itself on being able to meet the needs of our youth, both in unit meetings, unit outings, and summer camp and otherwise. Whereas each individual scout's needs are very specialized and very different, I can't really speak to the whole audience and say we can accept everyone or we can't accept these things. So please just reach out to us and we'll be able to speak to you specifically about what your scout needs and how we can meet those needs. Again, we have a lot of scouts with special needs that come to our camps every year, and we're able to accommodate many needs, but some needs we're just simply not able to based on how the program operates. So please just communicate with us ahead of time, communicate with camp directors, communicate with the program directors. Our contact information is all available through the crossroadsbsa.org website, but please reach out ahead of time and we'll be able to discuss with you the specifics of what your scout or what your youth may need. So that does pretty well wrap up our frequently asked questions. I haven't seen any pop up in the chat, but please feel free to reach out with us if you have any other questions. I will go ahead and post in the chat for everyone the camping@crossroadsbsa.org email address. This is a great way to get a hold of all of us. We have one person that reads those emails and splits them out. So even if you've got a Camp Belzer or you've got a family camp or Arrow of Light camp or regional day camp, or even if you've got a Randsburg Scout reservation question, we can handle those. So the camping@crossroadsbsa.org is a fantastic email address to utilize. Wow, we've got a great question that just popped up. I will pass it over to Sophie and Kobe, but the question is there a chaplain-led worship service being offered at family camp and AOL camp, similar to what's offered during prior summers at Kick the Weenin? So that is a question to Sophie, Kobe. If you've gotten that granular in your program planning, that would be great, but just any information on religious services would be great.
Yeah. So both Kithaweenan and Cretenstein, as well as family camp and AOL camp, we will be offering a interfaith chapel service. All are welcome to attend. In fact, it is encouraged. The scout is reverent, but it is not required by any means. But there will be one.
Great, thank you, Kobe. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. Since we don't really have any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for this evening. I will be hanging on a little bit longer for the chat, so if there's anyone that's got any additional questions to post to the chat, feel free to continue to do so after the video has concluded. And then in addition, I will go ahead and post right now the camping@crossroadsbsa.org email address. And that is just a way for you to get a hold of us if you have any specific questions about any of our camps or any of our programs. So thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you this summer. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.